Each of these startups is leveraging XRP Ledger to create impactful solutions, including cross-border payments, trade finance, lending against tokenized assets, and AI agent infrastructure for payments. So this is happening. Alrighty, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another CYPRX video breakdown. In today's video, we are going to be doing a two-part video series, and I want to show you guys undeniable proof that institutions are actively preparing for the full-scale adoption of DeFi, and they're not just observing, they're putting millions of dollars of capital to work through yield generation strategy. So we're going to kick things off by diving into XRP developments, breaking down some key fundamentals and pulling insights from some of the most reputable voices and organizations in this space. And then in the second portion of today's video breakdown, we're going to transition into the broader landscape where I'm going to show you all how institutions are already testing and in many cases participating in on-chain yield strategies across multiple networks and ecosystems. So let's jump into the first portion of today's video breakdown. I want to kick it off here with a recent Twitter space that was hosted by Centaura, Hugo Filion, Firelight, an individual representative from Firelight, Jesus. And I want you guys to pay close attention to what this gentleman said, because I don't really truly think people understand how massive of an opportunity there is at hand here for XRP's utility to really shine in the DeFi ecosystem, considering where the TVL is at right now. So just listen to what this gentleman here, Jesus, says, and you guys can see just hovering over this gentleman's name, he has some valid credentials. He's the co-founder and CTO of this organization, Centaura, which we're going to get into in just 1 second. So keep that in the back of your mind. But listen to what this gentleman says. He gives a future outlook and a perspective as to where he thinks the DeFi TVL can sit in terms of the active DeFi TVL on the XRPL in the coming months/years. Take a second here and listen.
I appreciate everything you've been sharing throughout today's space. Let's go over here to Jesus. And Jesus, similar to the question I just asked Hugo, how do you imagine the XRP-Fi ecosystem growing within the next couple of years or so?
Look, again, to put another controversial note, I think there is a chance, a non-trivial chance, that XRP might be top 5 asset in DeFi if you factor ETH, BTC, the stables, and Solana. So if you combine all those with the momentum on XRP, with the fact that most high-profile protocols will be willing to take on board XRP as a collateral or as an AMM pool, it's not crazy to think that it might be on the top 5 assets of participation in DeFi.
So you heard this gentleman here with valid credentials from this organization, Centaura, who I'm going to show you in just 1 second, mentioned that he believes that the DeFi TVL in the XRPL will sit in the top 5. That is a substantial increase from where we currently sit today, ladies and gentlemen, and that would be a catalyst that truly leads XRP's price to brand new all-time highs, well above $20 to $30 per token. If you just go do the math on the TVL increase, look at the TVL right now on the XRPL DeFi ecosystem, $87 million according to DeFi Llama. Now, this number is short a few $1 million in my personal opinion, but still, we have not even reached over $200 million in TVL in the DeFi ecosystem. We know that the vast amount of the market cap of XRP sits dormant on centralized exchanges. If you come over here to DeFi Llama and you take a look at the top 5 chains, right? Well, what sits in the number 5 spot right now? Tron does, and Tron sits at a $5 billion DeFi TVL. So if you were to see an increase of active TVL in the DeFi ecosystem on the XRPL go from $87 million to $5 billion, ladies and gentlemen, just go do the math on what that would do for the demand of XRP. Now, I want to show you guys that these organizations, the gentleman who is making this prediction is coming from an organization who is actively participating in producing infrastructure, who is actively producing infrastructure for institutions to participate in DeFi. As you can see here, this is Jesus Rodriguez. You can see May 6, 2025, announcing Centaura, a new institutional DeFi platform born from the merger of Into the Block and Trident Digital. A lot of people don't know what Trident Digital is, so let's just dive into this real fast so you guys can see that this is happening. This is not a wave that you want to ignore. These institutions are flat out telling you now what they want to do with their XRP, and they want to earn yield. They want to generate rewards. They want to put their idle digital assets to work. Today marks a defining moment in the evolution of Into the Block. We are thrilled to announce our merger with Trident Digital and the completion of a $25 million Series A funding round. This milestone accelerates our mission to bring institutional adoption to decentralized finance and unifies two pioneering teams under a new banner. Then down here, it mentions Trident Digital built first-class structured products and regulated investment vehicles, powering some of the most successful stablecoin campaigns for industry leaders like PayPal and Ripple. So I'd say that Trident Digital is not one to be ignored. Well, if we remember, we come over here to an announcement from June 12th, 2025, right here. Trident announces up to $500 million of a financing plan for an XRP treasury. That is not a small amount of money, ladies and gentlemen. That is $500 million right there. This initiative will focus on the acquisition of XRP tokens as a long-term strategic reserve, the deployment of staking mechanisms to generate yield, and deep engagement within the Ripple ecosystem. Trident will collaborate with select infrastructure and application products, further strengthening its commitment to the advancement of decentralized finance. Then if we come over here, June 12th, 2025, Trident announces up to $500 million of financing for a plan for XRP Treasury and appoints Chance Securities LLC as the strategic advisor. This initiative will focus on the acquisition of XRP tokens as a long-term strategic reserve, the deployment of staking mechanisms to generate yield, and deep engagement within the Ripple ecosystem. So they are planning to stake $500 million worth of XRP. Imagine getting just 3% to 10% yield on $500 million, which is exactly what these large organizations are now telling you all that they are wanting to do, because that type of yield is available through staking mechanisms. And it's coming and coming fast. So it would behoove you guys not to ignore that, to continue to support my case, to show you guys that now is the time to get involved in DeFi through education. You do not need to go out there and risk your hard-earned assets to get educated in the DeFi ecosystem. Instead, you can follow individuals like us here at CYPRX, who constantly pump out free material on both Twitter and YouTube to tell you guys what is happening. And if you want to take a further educational approach, we created the Wealth 28 Club for you guys, so you can learn how we are getting our digital assets working for us, so that way you don't have to go out there and risk your hard-earned assets. You can learn from our trials and tribulations on these protocols, testing these different assets that can generate yield in the now, so that way you can learn. I said here in this post to continue to support my case. Banks create money out of nothing, then charge interest to spin the wheel. This is going to be very important as we full circle towards the end of this video breakdown to a development that just recently happened on an XRPL accelerator. So make sure that you guys are paying attention to this key vocabulary, because we're going to come back to this post. All right. So to continue reading, it says, meanwhile, the masses grind to earn what they print. The right to create money equals the right to leverage, and that leverage is what hoists them to the top of the pyramid. But here's the shift. DeFi flips the script. No middleman, no gatekeepers, no hidden fees. I'm actually going to highlight that right there, because that's going to be important via someone with credentials that's telling you the same thing. With DeFi, you become the bank. Mint your own assets, earn interest, not pay it, control your leverage, access global 24/7 markets. The old system was rigged, and DeFi puts the power back where it belongs, and that is in the hands of the people. A lot of people are still nervous about this ecosystem because of previous events that have taken place in crypto from years ago, back in 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in 2025, about to head into 2026. It is time to change with the moving tide. Exodus posted this. Exodus is a wallet-based platform where you can go and you can stake your assets. History will remember July 18th as the day the banking system lost its monopoly on money. The signing of the Genius Act marks a turning point, not just in crypto, but in the architecture of the modern economy. And so many people are not paying attention. If we come over here, here is more confirmation. This is back from May 2025 from Signum, a financial institution that is heavily regulated and heavily involved in the digital asset ecosystem. And it says right here, we can argue that many decentralized DeFi protocols are no longer experimental. The underlying infrastructure clearly works, and recent regulatory developments are now making participation suitable for institutions. This is confirmation from a large organization in this space, i.e. Signum, telling you guys that the infrastructure is ready and that institutions are game. If that is not enough proof for you guys, well, check this rabbit hole out. Galaxy Digital posted this just a week ago. As of time of recording, it is only July 24th. Depending on when you're watching this video breakdown, it could be a few days after, but this is still relatively new information. And it says here directly from their LinkedIn profile, we are excited to announce our integration with Fireblocks, unlocking Galaxy's institutional staking platform for 2,000 plus financial institutions that rely on Fireblocks secure infrastructure. Wow. If this is not confirmation that institutions are interested in staking, then I don't know what else is. And it says right here in the original release, if you scroll right down here in bold, this collaboration allows institutions to participate in secure and scalable staking while exploring advanced strategies that tap into Galaxy's integrated trading and lending solutions, transforming passive staking into capital efficient, reward generating strategies. How many people on X, on Twitter, and on YouTube are still bashing that DeFi is not regulated, that it's not secure enough to be participating in? Yet here you see over 2,000 freaking financial institutions now able to participate in secure, regulated platforms to stake their assets. Clients can now stake digital assets directly from Fireblocks vaults without moving assets off the platform while accessing Galaxy's high-performance validator network and integrated trading and lending solutions. Now, right down here, I have highlighted BitGo. That's important because we know an announcement that BitGo was involved heavily with XRP just a few days ago. This marks our third custodial integration of 2025, following partnerships with Zodia Custody and BitGo, as we continue building quality infrastructure for institutional on-chain participation. So, highlighting that BitGo, we come over here. You guys remember what was announced just the other day in June 2025. BitGo enters a strategic partnership with Vivo Power to facilitate its initial US $100 million XRP acquisition for treasury strategy. So this is now yet another organization that is allocating to XRP for yield generation. And who did they partner with? Keeping in mind that I just showed you guys this space, this Twitter space with Centaura, Hugo Filion from Flare, Firelight, a protocol being built on Flare networks to facilitate liquid staking capabilities with XRP, and a gentleman from Firelight and Centaura, Jesus, telling you guys that he personally believes that XRPL DeFi is going to sit in the top 5. Y'all, come on now. Going back to this announcement, in collaboration with Vivo Power and BitGo, Vivo Power and Flare launched definitive strategic partnerships to deploy US $100 million in XRP for institutional yield generation. Ladies and gentlemen, come on now. You cannot make this stuff up. Vivo Power is building a virtuous cycle and generating yield and using it to systemically increase its core XRP position, creating a perpetually compounding engine for shareholder value. So anybody telling you guys that this is not happening, this is not taking place via large organizations, they are wrong. This is happening in a regulated environment, in a secure environment, and it is being built out for both retail and institutions. Okay, you cannot make this up. I mean, this is direct proof. Look at this: Galaxy, BitGo, building quality infrastructure for institutional on-chain participation. You got BitGo in collaboration with Vivo Power, making an acquisition for an XRP treasury. And what do they plan to do with that XRP treasury? Right? Collaborate with Flare in order to generate institutional yield. Come on now, ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case. But that's not all the juice that I have. If you guys are enjoying this video breakdown so far, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. Let's continue. Because as always, I try to show you guys as much information and proof as possible, so that way you guys have knowledge backing your financial decisions in these markets. We are not just here speculating that DeFi is going to be the new wave. We are showing you guys physical proof that institutions are telling you all that DeFi is going to be the new wave. This is a post from Securitize. Accred is the largest tokenized institutional private credit fund to date, with $100 million plus on chain. It's now DeFi native via Accred, minted through Securitize vaults and powering looping strategies on Camino Finance and Drift Protocol. Drift Protocol, again, just go look into this, is backed by Apollo, Securitize. Those are two major institutional players, right? Just go look at that. And this is not a small amount of money. This is $100 million plus on chain. And they're talking about what? Looping strategies, DeFi native participation. Okay. But if we click on this post that they linked down here from CoinDesk, well, if we come over here and we read this, who was this post written by? Because of what it says, this is extremely important. This was written by a lady named Tongvi Lei, hopefully I'm pronouncing her name correctly, from July 3rd, 2025, titled "Blockchain Isn't a Speculative Detour, It's a Modern Financial Operating System," says Tongvi Lei. And if we come right down here, who is this lady? Tongvi Lei is a former senior SEC attorney and has served in executive legal and policy roles at Anchorage Digital, which is an institutional custodial provider, Bain Capital, and Crypto and World Coin. That is massive credentials right there. And look at what she recently said in this article. The most forward-looking firms are going even further, building entirely new kinds of on-chain products. Take on-chain yield vaults, for example. I highlighted that in green. We'll come back to that. A relatively new primitive in crypto, which are like self-executing investment strategies. Companies like Veda Labs are pioneering smart contracts that stake tokenized assets, sell covered calls, lend to protocols, or arbitrage rates across DeFi, allowing institutions like asset managers to offer white-labeled branded investment strategies that automate execution while embedding compliance and fee logic directly into the protocol. No spreads or intermediaries, just composable, auditable investment products built for digital native allocators. Instead of relying on opaque naive calculations, returns can be verified on chain. Put simply, this is a new category of investment products, more transparent than an ETF, more automated than a hedge fund, and infinitely more programmable than any legacy wrapper. And then to wrap it up, she said, the tools are ready, the infrastructure is live, and the first movers have already shown what's possible. Asset managers who ignore this innovation risk being left behind, because while others are still sending capital calls by email, the next generation of investment platforms is already being built on chain in real time and at scale. Ladies and gentlemen, this is coming directly from an individual with credentials as an SEC attorney telling you guys that the infrastructure is ready and that those that do not adopt risk being left behind. How many times in previous video breakdowns have we said the exact same thing? Then up here, she specifically mentioned no intermediaries or any middleman. Well, if we come back over here to this post that we started this off with, what did I say to you guys in this post? No middleman, no gatekeepers, no hidden fees. All of that is dead. The old system was rigged. And now DeFi puts the power of the hands back in. And now DeFi puts the power back in the hands of the people where it belongs, right? And we can see this confirmed directly from an individual with credentials. So I'm not here speculating and making this up off the top of my head. I'm taking perspectives from people whose opinions actually matter in this space. Now, keeping in mind that she mentioned here, I have highlighted in green, take on yield chain vaults as an example, a relatively new primitive in crypto. Well, if you guys missed this interview that we did with the CEO of Elise Network, Elise Network is a next-gen layer 1 blockchain that is simplifying DeFi through self-custody and universal liquidity and a fully decentralized suite of tools aimed at making financial services accessible to all. They allow individuals to come over here and stake their XRP in vaults. Here you can see this is the Elise Network. Remember, we did a whole entire hour and 30 long minute interview with the CEO. Definitely go check this out. I have this pinned on my profile. And if you come over here to the Elise Network, you can see they have an XRP vault that's paying an APR of about 9% right now. And this has a substantial amount of TVL so far. If we come over here, you can even see they have a USDC vault, which has more than $500,000 sitting in that vault and offers 16% on USDC, right? So very interesting developments taking place. Now, that is not it for today's video breakdown. Last thing that I want to share with you guys, because this is coming directly from an XRP Accelerator event. So XRP Accelerator has officially launched its 6th cohort in partnership with Tenity, Spotlight, 9 Ventures that are building solutions for a new financial future utilizing blockchain technology. Each of these startups is leveraging XRP Ledger to create impactful solutions, including cross-border payments, trade finance, lending against tokenized assets, and AI agent infrastructure for payments. So this is happening. And this is directly a post from CYPRX developers. Okay. Well, if we come right down here, right at the top sits Anados Finance. Well, if we come over to this website, look at what it says directly on the page. Become your own bank, your gateway to financial freedom, powered by the XRP ledger. Again, going back to the original post, what did I say to you guys? With DeFi, you become the bank. Mint your own assets, earn interest in vault strategies, for example, not pay it. Control your leverage, access global 24/7 markets. And again, if we come over here, this is a project being built out and powered by the XRP ledger that was announced in the XRPL Accelerator event. And if you scroll right down here and you zoom in to some of the features that they're going to launch, well, what does it say right here? Anados vaults, right? So maybe we're going to be able to earn yield on our XRP on this platform in the future moving forward. So you guys can see that developments are moving extremely fast. That was it for the first portion of today's video breakdown. If you guys enjoyed, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. Remember, none of this is financial advice. I'm here in an attempt to show you guys that now is the time not to be skeptical, scared, and sidelined, and instead, now's the time to be proactive, engaged, and educated. Remember, you do not need to go out there and risk your XRP or any of your other digital assets in the DeFi ecosystem to learn about DeFi. Take a mentorship program, tap into the Wealth 28 Club, watch the curated videos, the educational material that we have crafted and built for you guys so you can learn about this space. So that way, when you're comfortable with the ecosystem in DeFi, you can then go out and deploy because you have knowledge backing your decisions. And that knowledge then therefore becomes powerful. And if that doesn't float your boat, then make sure that you guys subscribe to the CYPRX YouTube. Make sure that you guys are following us on X because we dump so much free content and material every single Friday. We're on live calls, going over the developments in the DeFi ecosystem. There's so much free material out there for you guys to digest. I cannot stress enough that now is the time to educate yourself further. As always, many blessings to you guys. I'll see you guys in part 2 of today's video breakdown.